Greetings, everyone. It's Grandmaster Amen Rahh. No, I didn't take a nap. Pole. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm just trying to get used to this scheduling of events, and I had to see my son off to Nairobi. So today's topic is the Chinese are bad and other propaganda lies. I wanted to Molden, how are you, bro? Good to see you there. I wanted to come on here and get this thing straight. We have to understand something as Black people is serious. So this is going to be a serious show because we're not understanding what propaganda is. And it sure seems like many of us are succumbing to Western propaganda much too much. Now, this show isn't about how good the Chinese are. This show is about misinformation and how dangerous misinformation is. We go on here and we go around discussing things that we've headlines, not even the story. You don't even see the story. Maybe you just see the headlines, and then you discuss these things as if they were true. You must understand that there is a campaign, a negative campaign someone is doing just to get Kenyans and Africans in general to hate the Chinese. And they don't use bullets. They don't use clubs. They use propaganda, media lies to badmouth the people that are helping Africa the most. Now, I've talked about this before. Oh, you guys. So I talked about this before, and but today I want to dedicate a whole show on this one, but not a long one. Morella Molden. Yeah, okay. Greetings, Morel. You know, again, once again, thank you for the African Super Chat you sent. And definitely I want to put a shout out to Duran Tate for his African Super Chat. This is how we do these Super Chat for those people that want to start now. And then I'm going to give a shout out to you. Ooh, this is the wrong phone number. I mean, the wrong name, spelling of the name. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue on that issue. NASA, hi, Grandmaster. Okay, how are you? Are there any amusement parks, casinos, everyday entertainment? Yeah, they are, and they might be full if we don't. If we can make people to understand about this topic of misinformation in the media, surely the people need to be able to realize and recognize when an article is bashing people without any proof. And this is the problem that we have. Okay, I'm gonna be right up there with you. Man, some Chinese are racist. There are too. You see, even if you guys want to start with me in the chat line at the beginning, it's okay because you're just gonna be sorry. Some Chinese are racist. Do you know any Chinese people? We're talking about in Africa now. If you're not in Africa, then that's a different thing because there's 3.7 million of them in America. Yet they're telling us that the Chinese are taking over Kenya where there's only 40,000. And I don't want to start with this thing. You know a Chinese person that did somebody wrong. You were there, you watched it. Don't do that. Okay, don't give me these eyewitness incidents. And what's that supposed to mean? Every Chinese is bad because you saw one Chinese do something? No. You got to get over that. It's not about what the Chinese did. This is about misinformation. If you can't prove it, or if the article that you're reading doesn't have name its sources, or if the article ends with no conclusion, just a lot of drama, then there's a good chance you've been propagandized. There is a difference between something you heard and something you know. And we have to be much more mature as blacks that are talking about coming into Africa than to fall for the oldest trick in the book, and that is lies and deceit. Through lies and deceit, anything is possible. Yeah, Flamingo Casino. Yeah. Everything that you really want in America, you can basically get in Africa, and that is true, and is growing to be more and more true. So, yeah. Amen Rahh. What's up? Meek Marketing Live. Welcome. Heru Toot. Everything can be propaganda. Come on. Not everything can be propagandized. The truth cannot be propagandized. Are the Chinese in Africa? That's true. That's not propaganda. How can you propaganda? No, they're not. Well, you okay? Yeah, maybe you can say they're not, but I mean, obviously, you can prove that they are. But you cannot prove that the Chinese are racist. This is a word that's used in the United States. So there was an article in there about the Kenyan man said he never experienced racism in his own country until the Chinese man said something bad to him. We got to get over that clearly. Okay, I have already put articles in the Black Man's Guide to Moving to Modern Africa on my Facebook group. The Black Man's Guide to Moving to Modern Africa. There already an article there discussing about how the Chinese are overtaking us. Let me put that in the link right now. So some of you guys are going to want to go there. And now you can go to this, and we also can go to this this group, and there we can continue this with pictures, with articles, with video, anything you want. You can't do that in the chat line, but after this show, you can also go back there and continue this discussion. I've already had a couple of people come out talking nonsense, and then I had to put them down because this is just nonsense. You got to understand the difference between propaganda news, fake news, as Trump likes to call it, and what is, professional reporting. Professional reporting has sources. You'll have the name of the news agency, and it should be a prominent one. Then you'll have the name of the person who wrote the article, not his press guy or his not somebody else. It must say article written by. It can't just have a name by. That's not a real article if it doesn't have all these things there. And it's still, some of them put fake names there, and you should have some way to reach the author of the article, and it should have his email address. But if you don't see these things in the article, and it's coming from a dubious website you never really heard of, why even take the chance to see like it's real? You must understand, as I have told you before, the greatest fear of the white man in America is black people leaving in mass. So they're going to have a propaganda campaign, a misinformation campaign against the Chinese because the Chinese are helping the African. Now, misinformation is very dangerous in the fact that in the fact that it can make you hate one person and not hate another person, because everything has an opposite. There got to be love and there got to be hate. So if the Chinese are bad, then who is the good guy? That's what your mind is saying. If I can't trust the Chinese, who can I trust? You see? And the way they put out these articles, it's like, you believe that the Chinese are bad, but you don't have anything negative to say about the United States. You ain't gonna get no Chinese man in here because the Chinese have a policy of non-interference with African countries, with the countries they do business with. Okay? You can't get that. They go, it's not enough of them. I don't even know a Chinese person. I have never even been up close to a Chinese person in Africa, like sitting next to one in the matatu or, in line somewhere. They're too rare. Talking about they're gonna take over the country. They had misinformation articles talking about Chinese are selling maize on the street corners as if we're going to take over. That means that the Chinese are they're implying that the Chinese are going to take over all small businesses in Kenya. This is what these articles are designed to do. They're not just written up by idiots. They're sophisticated and they're worded in a certain way. They have certain keywords in there like racism, or control or take over. You see, these keywords, they affect you and you start to believe them. They put these words into the article purposely when they create these misinformation campaigns. And you got to be very vigilant about what you allow to go into your brain. It's like the same thing. You go put things in your mouth. You won't put no strange food in your mouth. You don't know where it's been. So why would you allow yourself to look at articles from somebody's headlines? Even though it might make you feel good or make you get your attention, you should know that the source is dubious. Then you know that it can be a propaganda campaign to trick you and give you false information. Let me give you a point here. While these misinformation people are campaigning to make you believe that the Chinese are going to take over the port of Mombasa because China didn't pay the SGR, which is imaginary fake news. While you studying this and they're making you understand this in exporting tea, that's revenue that's coming to Kenya. But you did hear the part about the Chinese are going to take over the port of Mombasa because of non-payment of SGR loan. And because they wrote 50 articles on this, which is inside the Facebook group, so you can look and see, you can count it for yourself. Just Google Chinese take over Mombasa port, and you'll see 50 different articles about this thing of taking over the port. And then you see one article that says the president got on television and told the people that is propaganda and you should not follow it. And he also said that the Kenya is above. They're paid up on their loan. They have paid even more money on that loan than it's no way it's going to go into some sort of default. Okay, let me look here. Why would the Chinese have heart and want to help Africa? Okay, first of all, it's not help, it's business. They signed an agreement in 2000, so get the help out your mind. That's slavery. That's not like they're partners. Africa and it's a partner agreement. Both sides win in this agreement. And China is not just doing this in Africa. He's doing it in India, Russia, and all kind of countries all around the world. So Africa is not unique. They didn't just like come and target the African. You got to flip this thing. When they try to tell you that the Chinese is got targeting Africa, that's not true. The West is the ones who China targeted Africa, and when they came in and colonized us. Renee Africana, Paul Graves. Oh wow, I thought it was just Uganda. No, the United States is worse. Exactly. They're flipping it. When they tell you that the Chinese are doing predatory loans in Kenya, they're talking about the IMF and the World Bank, because that's what they did. Go Google and see. Now the Chinese wrote the agreement in 2000, and in the agreement they put that there's nothing like predatory loans. And again, loans for countries is different from loans from people. Loans from people, yeah, you can take their property if they don't decide that they refuse to pay back the money, because a person got a lifespan. Once he's get too old, he can stop working, die. He could die. So you can file in court on a person and take their property to pay for your legitimate loan. But a country is different. When a country can't pay its debt on time, then what they do is they restructure the loan. That's all you can do. So these people have put out these allegations that the Chinese are, going to take over things because Kenya can't pay its loans. But this is exactly what the IMF did and the World Bank tried to do. But see, you can't think of that, because they're distracting your mind over to the Chinese, and there you go. Now we need to find the enemy here, but the enemy is not China. But because of our need to point the blame at something, or to see that we've been taken advantage of, the person that's taking advantage of is pointing the finger at someone else. So you're looking to find somebody, and then you see him pointing the finger over there, and you go, oh yeah, it must be him, the Chinese. No. The complete opposite is true. And we all know that the West is the one coming out with these stories. Someone who has never been into Kenya is very confident with his propaganda about us. You're not even a chief in a Kenyan village. Well, I don't know if you're talking to me, but I don't even get that. What's going on, brother? What's up? Emmanuel Mills, how are you? Okay, what the fuck are we loaning money to Africa when it should be the other way around? I'm not getting that either. Are we loaning who? Because on this channel we have Kenyans, and we also have Black Americans. Okay, Paul Graves. Paul Graves is saying, my sister, only some Chinese are racist. Chinese are no more racist than, how? You know what I'm saying? And we're talking about Chinese in Africa. So what race is there in Africa? This is a term for U.S. blacks. It's not a term that's even understood in Africa. So I don't even know why somebody is saying Chinese are racist. And how is that? Because the person is black? Surely we're in Africa. We're not in the United States. So you're saying the Chinese are racist because the person is an African? And this whole propaganda campaign is talking about the Chinese that are in Africa. So you're saying that the Chinese are coming into Africa and saying that they're racist toward the African? What? Why are you saying that? About news about some Chinese man being so-called racist? What about the British man who shot and killed a woman in Karen? What about the British man who brought in 100 kilos worth, $500 million dollars into Kenya? What about the British man who raped a school teacher in Westlands? What about the British man and Americans who were arrested in connection with the Watergate shooting in Kenya? What about them? Well, you talking about this one Chinese man? There's like 20 different things that 20 different British and Americans that are messing up in the country all over the place. What about them? So there's no leg you can stand on. Everything propaganda people put in the news there. Those allegations, if you flip them, they point the finger at what the West has done. Not what the Chinese have done. The Chinese know what the West has done. And they have gone out of their way to make sure that they are going to treat the African like a fair partner and work out these details. They have things in place in this agreement that they can discuss anything, anytime, and relieve and resolve any issues that come up. Now, the Kenya owes China something like $3 billion. I think it's less now. But people don't realize that China is very big, and they got the strongest and biggest economy in the world. So Kenya's got on online shopping and spent $1 billion US in 24 hours. You understand what I'm saying? So what is $3 billion dollars to the Chinese? Surely that's like pocket money. You know what I'm saying? So why would they even want to go and start attacking the country because of such a small debt? It's a big debt for Kenya, yes, but for China, this is small money. They going to invade now? And the people that are saying that the Chinese are going to take over Africa, you're joking. They've been having this agreement since 2000. Now it's 19 years later. Where are these court cases that people should be putting out there and arresting Chinese people? Where are they? No court cases. Just a lot of propaganda in the news. And you must understand it's a campaign to make defame the Chinese for the work that they're doing in Kenya. But the government of Kenya is not even falling for it. In fact, when you look on Black Man's Guide, you see an article where they're telling that that propaganda didn't work. The Chinese and the Kenyan government are still hand in hand. 2017. It's so sad that I see us getting thrown under the bus. We see some videos on that? You can see videos, but they're fake videos. Put on, taken off, and then people are saying that you can find a video of a Chinese guy arguing or something like that, but you're not going to see. That's not going to hardly compare to what the white man has done. I don't know which countries they were in. Yeah, of course you don't, because that's how propaganda works. You don't get all the details. Well, you're so busy bashing the Chinese, you're not realizing that Kenyans are traveling in because China opened up their borders to business with Kenya. Big Kenyan businessmen have done 70 billion Kenyan shillings worth of business last year in China. Now, are they going to come up and say that the Chinese are no good for Africa? You're joking. You're not doing your research. Now you see, Rena Africa is saying this. All they teach is about enslaving, slavery, and Hitler. Now, who started World War II? Was Hitler the real bad guy in World War II? He was not. He sent letter after letter to Britain to try to. I mean, so you are saying Chinese helping Africa more than hurting Africa? I'm asking. Why you guys have these names? Yoshua Israel. Yes, you have been propagandized. And you need to control that, because this is what kills us. The Chinese are a great help to Africa. We wouldn't be in the advanced stages where we are today if they didn't come in and work with African countries as a partner. And I'm telling you, the enemy here is the West, who are giving these propaganda stories any which way they can to defame and put the Chinese down. They make these articles, then they say that the Chinese are like this. They want to come in and live in your country, and they want to take over and live in your country. That's not the case. It was the white man who came in Africa that tried to want to stay here and live here and build buildings and things like that. How many Chinese buildings that's only exclusive for Chinese are in Africa? You go to any African city, and you can see the remnants of colonization. The French came in, and then when they were kicked out, they put cement in the pipes so that the Africans couldn't even use the pipes. They came in here and they tried to live, not the Chinese. The Chinese, they never tried to come here and live. China is better than the West, of course. Listen, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. But beyond that point, it's the West propaganda that is so dangerous to us, because we tend to get it, and then we tend to hear it, and then we tend not to fight it. And we let that stuff reside in our minds, and there we have it. There is a big difference of what you have heard and what you know for a fact. And I know many of you will not do the research. You will not do the research. And here I am telling you that you was lied to by so-and-so. Now, what's the brain's response? Well, a lot of times the brain's first response is denial. Now, after you go through denial, you become angry. When you become angry, you need to focus that anger on someone. And here you focus on the messenger. So I'm telling you that you've been lied to. You're in denial. I've never been lied to. You can't trick me. And then you get angry, and then you start like, Amen Rahh, you are an idiot. Here you go posting, Amen Rahh, that is the most stupidest thing I have ever heard. Here you go, Amen Rahh, you need to quit and go back to your country. You don't know what you're talking about. Amen Rahh, you sick bastard. Amen Rahh, you don't know what you're talking about. You see? That's what you do. Because you can't give no evidence, you can't shoot an intelligent answer and say, Amen Rahh, I'm showing you this, and this is the truth, that the Chinese have a secret plan that only I know about, but the Africans don't know about. You see? That's propaganda. That's how propaganda works. I know before here you're going to have somebody going to come on here and say that. In fact, if you go into Facebook, in my Black Man's Guide, you'll see there where the guy told me the Chinese are doing these bad things. And I'm like, I proved to him that it's not. Then he told me, I got a friend that was sitting in the room when the Chinese made the agreement, and he knows everything. He was right there, and he told me exclusive. That's how sick and deep this propaganda nonsense can go. You must get away from that. You must get away from that. So when I mentioned that for 19 years, and there's not been one serious court case put against the Kenya the Chinese government that they have misdone anything wrong with Kenya. And you know, one person told me that they bribed the Kenyan courts. That's why there's no art. That's why there's no. That's why there's no court cases for 19 years. But it's a big problem. They can put a news article about it, but when it comes to go to court, they you see, that's what I'm saying. It's sad. We have to stop and look at misinformation, and you have to realize that the white man is not going to. He can't come and attack the Chinese. They fooled around and let the Chinese come into Africa, and now Africa is 75% of Africa's export business is done with China. They came in with weak products, and the West started saying Chinese products are inferior. The Chinese came with agriculture, and the West put in articles saying the rice was made of plastic. The food was fake. You see? These are all propaganda lies built into a campaign to make Kenyans hate the Chinese. And we have to realize and look at history, the history of Idi Amin, and see like these things is what the West does. They're good at propaganda. They give you the news for free, but it's not free. It's really messing up your mind. CNN, how many people remember the article that CNN did an article about Kenya? I think it was, and they did they had a different map of Kenya. You see? Kenyans jumped all over that. They was all in the news. It went viral how CNN doesn't even know where Kenya was located and all of this. Okay? But this issue of the Chinese taking over the port and all these other nonsensical articles, you go silent. And I'm saying that you got to do that. There are black people coming into this channel and others who have made up their mind not to come to Kenya or even Africa because the Chinese are everywhere. They don't even make up 0.something% of the population. I mean, divide 40,000 into 50 million and see what the number is. And then please note the fact that the 3.8 million Chinese, 1.5% of the American population is Chinese. And the Chinese have a Chinatown in every major city in the United States. They don't have no Chinese city in Kenya, but they have them all over America. And they only do business with themselves. Unless somebody can tell me that last time they saw a Chinese person walk into Kentucky Fried Chicken and order some chicken. Okay, I wish our President Uhuru was very strict like Kagame about fake news. In Rwanda and Tanzania, you cannot hear those fake news stories. Okay, well, I didn't know that, and it's good if he does because he recognizes the fact that that thing is very poison. I mean, Rwanda went into a war, the Tutsis versus the Hutu, because of propaganda. And then the French just walked out and left them to fight and kill each other. Same with Idi Amin. They say he's killed his own people. He didn't kill his own people. Why he didn't go to court? Why didn't they put him in the Hague? If anybody, you know what I'm saying? It was just lies. They just forced him out of his own country. He died in Saudi Arabia. Nobody was after him, but he was just exiled from his country because the people, Ugandans in this country, believed the hype and said that, okay, well, if you come to the country, we're gonna kill him. Not even arrest him. And it's sad. The same thing they did with the president of Cook. I always get them mixed up. Who's that guy that the CIA created a coup, backed a coup, and then took the leader out of the country, and then they killed him, chopped his body up, and boiled it in acid. based on propaganda. Can we not remember when Gaddafi was in power? I mean, not in power, but in Libya, where CNN put a report that they were bombing, and then the local journalist came on TV and said, "I'm right here outside now, and I don't see any bombs." They didn't bomb Tripoli for another week or two from the time they were saying they had bombed. They were bombing it. That is how serious the propaganda is, and how they just willfully throw it out there. Okay, you guys are mad. Cent Plus, why don't you address the condition human rights violations in Africa and the countries they do business with? Because that's not it. Human rights violations in Africa. Okay, human rights violation. This is a key word that they use. Now, what does that mean? Somebody violating an African's human rights? How? Where is this at? In what court? Somebody committed a crime against some African somewhere. Where are the police? If it's just a news article, it's probably you've been properly propagandized. You know, and I can sit up here and say, well, show me the article or send the article over to Facebook, and I won't get the article. I'll just get you talking coming up, and then at the end of the day, Amen. You're the most ridiculous guy I ever seen in my life. Amen. You're just you're a fake guy yourself. You know, you'll come up with your little cute points, but you see, that's the danger of being black in America. You don't realize that the greatest enemy of the black man is mass media, propaganda, news, entertainment, and sports. You're not realizing that because of the environment you're in, where it's just there. Okay, D. Campbell, the Chinese prisoners have impregnated 10,000 Ugandans. That's a lie. Flip it now and say how many white people have come in and infiltrated Uganda and got the women pregnant. Now remember, the white man has colonized almost every country in Africa except Ethiopia, but I don't know how that really counts. They got some circumstances in there. So what was they doing when they colonized you? Do you think that they were just letting the women, respecting the women in the country? No. They were killing off the men, imprisoning the men, and then using the women for booty calls. All through Africa. But you don't hear that. You see, what you hear is the Chinese are bad and they're rebuilding Kenya's infrastructure. They're employing 90% of the people that's employed with the Chinese are African and Kenyan. 90% of them. Yet you say they bad, they gotta go. Leave about the 70 billion shillings Kenyans are doing business in China today. Leave about the 40,000 Chinese students Kenyan students that's in universities in China today. Leave about them. Oh no, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the one Chinese guy that that's selling maize on the street corner, and that's just taking all the jobs from Kenyans. You see, black people in America, this is our problem. And this is why we had a situation we have in the United States, because they use the same proper lies and propaganda to keep us where we are today, 400 years later. They didn't have newspaper in the 1800s. They just shoot one of us and string him up on a tree, swing him around, and then tell you, come outside and look what we did to your friend. And we'll do the same thing to you if you don't bow down to me. And we fought. That's also not in the news. We fought against that. They couldn't keep on doing that. So they just created laws to keep us down. They came up with fake arrest, and plea bargaining. You walking around the street minding your own business, they arrest you and tell you were attempted burglary of a house that was nearby, and say, but you can plead to a lesser sentence, and we'll say we're going to arrest you and give you probation for vagrancy. Do I have to do jail time? No, you don't have to do no jail time. You just be on 3 years probation. Fool, they got you. Now it's on your record. 2, 3 years later, you're looking for a job, and then they like, we see you was arrested for vagrancy. Oh, how many brothers got that? How many brothers got a record now in America? The white man is dangerous. You people don't understand. You talking about you want to get away because America? It's a white man. It's like that, man. He don't solve his problems with intelligence. That's why his country is going down. He's not smart. His whole thing is military, beat you over the head with a club, and take what he wants. And unfortunately, our people is in there too with him. It's time for you guys to wake up and smell the coffee. You have to start thinking for yourself. Else, you're going to run into me, and I'm going to beat you over the head with the truth and then embarrass you. Then you're going to get mad. Then you're going to be, Amen, you're the greatest idiot I have ever met in my life. Amen. You don't have any sense. Amen. I have to tell you that you are no good, you black bastard, you see? Then you be mad at me because I gave you the truth. If the white man tell you that don't go to Africa, that's exactly what you should do. Damn. He's only 7% of the world population, so he can't speak out. He can only do these things and control you through the media, social media, or through hidden means, or through fake laws, or real laws that he put on books that he didn't tell you about. Amen. You're the most stupidest man I've ever met in my life. You see, people, this is what I go through. And then you guys get mad at me when I put this on the wall, when I put this on the screen. I've never. You see, I ask you for support because this channel is not going to stay in America. I'm here in Kenya today, right now, 21 years, happily. I'm ready to give you all the advice you need to help you if you want to come to Africa and settle down. But what I'm going to get from people out there, that the Chinese are going to kill us no matter what. America is going to invade over Africa anytime. The armies are going to come in and bomb, and troops are going to land. It's silly, but it's dangerous because this kind of campaign, what it's designed to do is to make you hesitate from coming to Africa. And it really works. If somebody tell you there's an Ebola breakout in Kenya, so you had a flight to go there, you're gonna cancel your flight from a news article that's baseless. Like in Liberia, the Liberian president, she was there when she's reading the articles that they putting in all of these tents, quarantine tents all through the capital of Libya, and then Freetown, and then they're saying they put them all through, like 6 or 10 to, tents for the people to bring the Ebola victims in. So she's looking out the window of the presidential palace and looking at one of these tents, and she said, I've been here for 2 weeks. I haven't seen one person in there go there. There had been one case of Ebola coming in the tents. But the damage had already been done. nobody's going to go to Liberia because it's written with Ebola. This is true. Like I'm saying, this is not a show about the Chinese. Okay? Because I hear you guys in the chat room, you're trying to make a point. Everybody wants to be known. They want their 10 seconds of fame. And the Chinese are this and that. The Chinese have done this and that. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying to you that the propaganda you must watch out for. And if you seriously are black and you're talking about coming to Africa, then you need to be vigilant and you need to fight against this because it's a campaign that hurts black people. You must get your mind right. I know how to defend myself physically and mentally by not allowing nonsense to go inside my brain. They're making you focus on the Chinese. The Chinese, let me see, what we got, one black Chinese in the slums at the bottom, and we think they are African. So you see, the Chinese are in the slums. So, aren't white people in the slums? Chinese are being mistreating Kenyans on the job. Are not the whites also mistreating the Kenyans on the job? Far more. Chinese are being racist towards Kenyans. Have not white men, the British, and all of these whites that come into Africa not mistreated racism, as you call it, on Africans in their own country? Surely. You can't even talk about anything like that because while you talking this stuff about negative, which is not true, you're not concentrating on the things that are true, like the way the IMF and the World Bank almost destroyed Africa. Too many articles on that. That's what we need to be talking about, not what the Chinese are doing, because the Chinese said we're going to build a railroad, and that railroad going to be finished on March 1st at 9 a.m. The first train going to roll out. Now you get what I'm saying. They built the railroad. 5 railroad stations. You understand what I'm saying? Can you imagine? They imported the trains, brought all of the things, put them all in the order, and was selling tickets on March 1st. I don't know, it was 2016 at 9 a.m. The Chinese don't play when it comes to doing business. Compare that with all of the problems that the United States has given us with all of these stalled projects. They don't respect the African. And the Chinese is here trying to show you we respect you. And here we go with Africans going out there. You understand what I'm saying? Talking shit about the Chinese. You got to be careful because you are 46 years old and you're reading in the Nation newspaper and you're seeing the Standard newspaper and you're seeing negative articles about the Chinese, and then you start a conversation with your neighbor, and then your 18, 19-year-old son is listening to this conversation, and then he goes out and he happens to know a Chinese person or where a Chinese person is, and then he sees the Chinese person and he throws a rock and bashes the Chinese person on the back of the head and runs away, trying to make the dad proud of him. That's all that, and it's because of the campaign that the white man put that caused this incident to happen. And then that Chinese man was the brother of somebody's Chinese bank, and then he gets mad and says, I'm taking all my Chinese, I'm not doing no more loans with Kenya because of one incident. This is what the campaign is trying to do. They want you to come up, go to a Chinese factory site and go beat up the Chinese in the factory, burn it down. They want you because of misinformation they're giving you. I can't say, how can you look at Thicker Road, which is working? How can you look at the SGR, which is working? How can you look at all the roads the Chinese have, projects the Chinese are doing and are working, and tell me that that's the same thing that was happening in the 1990s in Kenya? Can you compare Kenya today with what it was in 19? I was here in Kenya in 1990 with Moy, and Moy was complaining about the IMF. They couldn't. I was at not private, but primary schools that was run down. The government couldn't have money to pay for the schools to operate because they had to pay the interest on the loan for the IMF. Morel Molden, in the world of Marcus Garvey, every black person in America is ready to go to Africa. You can't bring everyone. Some of our people will be lost. I get what you're saying, and I think if you saw the other show, damn, it's an hour already. If you saw the other show, I'm telling you, I got a plan, and we're gonna discuss this plan in its own show, where we purchase a piece of land. Everybody comes in, and then people pay for a section of the land. So if they come to Africa, they come to Kenya, because you can't go to Africa. You got to go to one African country. And when you come to Kenya, you have that area where you can come, and it's like a communal place. It's like a small village, like a campsite. It starts off like a campsite. It goes turn into a village. Then it turns into a town, and we grow like that. And everybody will have a certain amount of money that they pay, course, maybe $300 or $500 or something simple, and then that give them access to come and stay anytime they want to. So you come to Africa and you worry about I'm gonna be homeless, you will never be homeless, because that section of land will be there, and you'll always find black people there. Now that's an idea I have, and we want to be able to discuss this at another show. We're in Africa. Black Fur Masters were excited. This is our first business. I'm tired of working for these fools. Yeah, I know what the fools you're talking about. Do business only. Don't sell them any land, lease only. Emmanuel Mills. See, that's the problem with black people, right? The first, it's the white man. Now it's the Chinese. No, it's not the Chinese. There is a campaign to make you think that the Chinese are like the white man. And the Chinese are telling you, look, we're going to do business with you, and we're going to prove to you that we don't have to, we're going to show you how to do the business right. That's what the Chinese do. They are not like the white men. Not at all. We have just been lied to make us hesitate of seeing what the Chinese are all about. And soon the Russians are coming. As you might know, that the Russians did a show. The Russians not did a show. The Russians came in and invited all the African leaders, and most of them went to Russia, and they had a conference there. They said, we're going to do business together. So you're going to have a choice between doing business with Chinese and doing business with Russians. And Russia's already doing business in South Africa. Okay, Phil Ruto. Thank you for the super chat, brother, the other day. African super chat, and but now you're saying the Chinese made billions selling Africa's junk. Okay, I don't know if that's African junk we're talking about. So I don't know that. All I do know is that they got they just did this yesterday, signed a 40 billion shilling deal with the Chinese. With the Chinese, that did 40 billion deal to have Kenya sell them tea. So, and if you go to any place around here and look at the Chinese phones now, the Chinese phones, just like with the Japanese, I don't know if people remember the Datsun 210 and B210 and all them cars that was like jokes, but now Toyota is the #1 car manufacturer. Got the best quality vehicles. So even Chinese, they came with cheap Chinese phones. I remember when they came out. But today, Tecno is one of the best phones there is. I had a techno, and it never let me down US than Kenya. Okay, field with the land is cheaper in the US than in Kenya. It can't be, because you gonna buy land in the United States based on the American dollar, and you're gonna buy land in Kenya based on Kenyan shilling. That's one thing. And then America is pretty much saturated. You might go find some land that's really cheap in America, but come wintertime or come tornado season, you say, like, damn, I bought this. You built your house in the summer, and then come fall, here come the winds, wah, and it wipes it out, or you get flooded out, or your house burns down in a fire like in California. So no, the weather in the United States is terrible, and it makes the land invaluable. But they don't want to tell you that. We can get land cheap in Kenya. You just do it on the outskirts. Still, it's getting up there now. Don't get me wrong. Population doubles every 25 years. Well, we can get land that's not it's within a walking distance of the beach, or within a walking distance of a main road, and then you set. You don't have to be. I wouldn't get land that was so close to people. I would set it back far where it can expand and expand nicely without having all kind of problems. And then it grow into its own community. It get a major road that connects it to the main road, and then you're done. We can do that in 10 years. Kenya has not only good land, and it's very fertile if you've seen the red soil of Kenya, but the weather is wonderful. It can rain, but you don't need a coat. And in the, here at the Indian Ocean in Mombasa, in Nairobi, you'd have to wear a coat, but it wouldn't be like freezing. Okay. Yeah, the exchange rate is 100 to 1. That's right. That should be cheap due to simple math. Simple math. And there's another thing that you need to think about, because some of these people are saying, if Africa was so great, if Kenya is so great, why is so many Kenyans trying to rush to go to America? They rushing for the money. They ain't rushing for Disneyland. They rushing for the money. They ain't rushing to get out there. You know what? I got friends. They come here. I won the lotto. I'm going to America. I'm like, okay, bro. Well, what country going? What state you going to? What state? What do you mean? What state? He look at the paper. Michigan. And so he leaving to go to Michigan in June. I'm like, have a good trip, buddy. Call me in a few months. Tell me how I feel. Cause he didn't know nothing. He don't even own a coat. He didn't know nothing about what cold weather was. Got over there in Michigan, hit that cold weather, came in, froze that brother. He was like, man. You see? Same with my Kenyan lady when I was in there. She turning on the gas in California at night. And I'm like, oh, what is this cold? It's cold. And I'm like, it's only 60 degrees. But for that Kenyan, that's damn cold. Oh, somebody wrote a nasty letter here. Let me see. GT realist, I see more black procrastination on this chat. The Europeans been fucking us raw for years. The African, I'm gonna give it to you. The Africans better learn from Chinese beating them without violence. Chinese not beating nobody without violence, bro. You've been propagandized. You need to go back. It was the white man that was beating people without with violence. It's serious. 1,800 Kenyans was murdered in Nairobi because they thought that somebody shot and killed a couple of white people. Can you imagine? I think Mama might have caught one or two white people, and then they came and rounded up 18, went through the city rampant, shooting every Kenyan they could find. 1,800 of them died in the 50s during the Mama uprising. Go look up your history. So don't tell me about some Chinese being violent. What they gonna do? Use martial arts? When was the last time you seen a heavyweight champion? Chinese champion boxing. You can't do it in martial arts either. That's just a big lie that the Asian has said. Phil, I'm here simply because I am a professor. As soon as I retire, I'll be in Mombasa with Amen Rahh. Yes. If you've never been here before, Phil, Karibu. And we're going to sit down and you're going to laugh and say, damn, I should have left earlier. Black Fate Master at Rena. Okay, you're talking to her. Okay. My 2 cents plus. How do the dollars translate? Okay, the dollars translate basically it's 102 to 1. But you see the dollar has been propped up fake. It's not backed by gold. You hear that kind of story. It's fake currency. You see, and when America falls, that currency level. But right now, if you use it, when you come to Kenya, you can get a hotel one less than $1. You'll be surprised at how far the American money will go, and that is true on the flip side too. So when a Kenyan is here, he's working for his money. It's a basic amount. But if he goes to America and gets a cleaning job that's paying $7 an hour, it's like making more money than his father could ever make because of the exchange rate. And that is what people that's what Africans are taking advantage of. They're not coming to America because they love the weather. You're out of your mind. And ask any African that's worth anything, he's going to tell you his end game is to go back to Africa after he sent money home to build his house. Simple like that. Progress, okay. I'm preparing to visit Kenya in June. GT Realist. Prepare, brother. We have a trip coming in May 2020. Go to the Black Man's Guide website, scroll down and see the trip that's coming. And we're already taking registration fees for that. So it's for martial artists, but we've been requested to have for our local people that just want to come to Africa and see. So we're putting like a double tour where you can come here and I'm gonna introduce you to business people, take you around, and then you'll see the place for yourself for sure. I've been here 21 years. I'm not like Dynas and them guys. They just go visit. They're walking around and they don't hardly know where they're going. I've been living here 21 years. Or is it 22? Can't remember. So what don't I know? All right, okay. How U.S. How that's the school? How U.S. the school system is? Oh, how is the school system in Kenya? He said us. I didn't say is. The schools are out of control here. Yes. Okay. I work with the school. I work with the school. Primary schools now. I'm developing a software program that is going to be expanded to the different schools. The county just gave me permission to spread the program to different schools now after we've been doing research with the program and testing for many years. So I'm extremely happy about that. I'm in the school, so I see the education system for what it is. They're serious about education in Kenya. They are serious. They don't take that joke. They put a law saying that you can't cane the students. That ain't stopping people getting it when they do wrong. Trust me. If you ain't in class when the bell ring, oh, you're in trouble. You get what I'm saying? I'm telling you from firsthand experience every day. The system here, they value education. You got money, you're gonna be very highly educated. You ain't got money, you're gonna be put in a trade school. So when you get out of primary, so yeah, something for everybody. I don't know why they don't promote that more. Talk about that more in the government. When you got a low score on your final exam, that automatically they send you to trading school, and they give you free trading, do sewing, what, because they recognize that there's people that just never gonna be bright. You know what I mean? No matter what, and so they work with their hands. So that's wonderful there. Kenneth L., what is there to see other than animals? Maybe somebody else that been to my Kenya could tell you. It's just Google Nairobi and then see what you're saying. Or go to the Black Man's Guide and look and click. There's a real estate video about buying houses in Kenya. You go there and you see what else there is in Kenya besides animals. Organized gang stalking is real. Be very careful. Just Googled it. This propaganda, we even have this here. You hear about it and it happens like anywhere. These kids are out of school now, and they're not organized gangs. And the police are serious when they catch these young guys. Remember, there's no guns in Kenya, so and most teenagers are in boarding school. So how serious could this be, really? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there was an issue about some guys with some pungas, but to blow the story out of proportion and the news lets it simmer until it blows itself to some big, like 50 people got hacked. How you gonna be in walking down the street with a hatchet? I mean, they call him a punga. What we call it? This big knife. So he gonna chop the first person in the head. Now all the people in the street see this guy chop somebody in the head. Are they gonna run to him? When he starts chasing after the next person, what are people gonna do? Have you ever seen how fast Kenyans can run? Shit. Street be cleared in a second. Poop. You know what I'm saying? You can't get no 50 people gonna stand up and chop next. Okay, you so still chop next. No. 50 people? Come on. But they put this in the newspaper. And you believe it. It's just like O.J. Simpson in the trial. Now I'm a martial artist. Okay? I have fought many a person. Somebody that's resisting, it's no way. Like the guy that they killed Nicole and went from ear to ear. Then went the other guy, they fought with this guy. That guy fought back for his life. You know how you feel when somebody start choking you and you see your life going out, you get superhuman strength. Ain't no way when one man gonna be able to handle all that after he done cut the wife's neck from ear to ear. Have you ever tried to kill a chicken? OJ never. How? You see, it's just a silly thing. Will our skills and education transfer over to Kenya? Your skills will transfer over to Kenya. And one of the great things about it is that you'll be given an opportunity to show what you can do simply because you're Black from America. So you can come in, like I go to a meeting or somewhere and I start talking, people shut up and listen because I'm a Black. Okay, now I talk nonsense or when I talk something that's real, that's a different story. You got experience. You got to be able to understand African behavior, and they can say yes, but they mean no. They just want to be polite. You got to understand that they have ways of doing things. You can't disrespect those ways. You got to kind of ease into it, and it take time. So don't think you're gonna change them overnight. So, but your expertise can definitely be worked, and it'll be welcomed. Come into Kenya, and then you can get you a 2-bedroom house for like $100 a month, and you'll be set. That person been looking at too much Discovery Channel. Yeah. Just Google it and yeah. You see, now I don't have to go through all that. Hello, brother Amen. I want to be of service. I am marketing, specifically graphic. I do a lot of graphic design myself. And web design, yeah, I do that. There are people that are doing that. If you are in need of a logo or website, okay, I do that myself because I'm in the same exact business. Not that I'm like it's saturated, and I do have a small business that does it for other people, websites and everything like that. I would like to offer my service free for you, and you're not even be the first person that have done that for me before. But what you need to do when you take those skills, and they're so needed in Africa, you know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I'm able to make money off of doing that here, because it's so needed. And you just have to come in and get ready to change your life. Okay, I'm not gonna. Damn, I'm not gonna make no 2-hour video, man. I'm sorry, people. Yeah. So let me get on this issue and discuss that. Now, this whole thing is I'm being careful and realize that there is a campaign right now to discredit the Chinese any way possible via news reports, fake news reports, and propaganda. It is a serious campaign, and you have to be careful. And you should not be mad at me when I tell you you've been propagandized. Okay, this thing is very serious, and they are very good at creating stories and putting out pictures and creating lies, twisting the words around. I don't have time to go to one article and start step by step showing you where the lies are. But you need to be able to discern from that and move away from that. America is very crazy. What is worse than our current situation? You see, America is crazy. It's a very bad situation, and you can't even really fathom how bad it is until you leave and see somewhere else. Now, that is why the white man don't want you to go, because you're just going to be mad at him when you get. I wanted to kick a white man's ass when I came to Kenya and saw how great it was here and how they lied to me, talking about this supposed to be a primitive place. Okay, remember that if you like what we're talking about here, don't forget to you can support the channel. Look in the comments section, and it's got the details on how to, they just cut my connection when I start talking bad about the United States. Oh, sorry. So let's hope it comes back. But in the long run, I'm still getting chats, so it must be okay, even though the sign is there. Okay. Yeah, when we start talking bad about the United States, they lower the bandwidth on my videos. So you see me, I'm stalling. Not because of my phone, it's because they stall. They do something to the video to make it stall like that. I feel you on that. If I was in Patreon, I would have to. They would send a report to the IRS, and I would have to fill out a 1099 form. So that we have decided that we're going to do this straight. So you got to go to Western Union, www.westernunion.com, or where's that paper? Or remit.com. World Remit is also working. And you go to mobile wallet, click mobile wallet, go to MPESA, put in the number, and put in the name. Now this is supposed to be an A, not an I, not an E. And I've got a different paper here. Ooh, this is not the right name. But get the right name, Evelyn's name, in the comment section. How to spell it correctly. That's why this is the old paper. This is probably why we had so many problems with because the name right here is not spelled correctly. But with the channel, Molden, every time Molden puts a comment, I have to jump on it because the brother has been supporting us. And once again, Morelli Molden, thank you. Believe it or not, Voice is starting to talk about Africa. My God, is that true? Boys like Dale's talking about Africa now. Yeah. But look at Phil from the Advice Show. If you just go back 2 years on his show, he was a dead set against it. I was watching him. He's like, I'm never going to go to Africa. I'm never going to go to Africa. He can't talk about a show without talking about African plan. Where you get the word African plan from? He got it from where? He got it from me, I think. Because I was the first one to start talking about that. Who's just trying to market on this show? Can't have that. AK, thank you for being on the show for so long with me, brother. The auto technician job is big. Yeah. Narrator is just handled this. Okay. Something's jumping on my another one. Okay. Meek marketing, you won't get on. I'm ready to put you off because you're trying to market on the on the chat line. Put the user in the timeout. Okay. How much is internet? Internet is is it expensive? Yeah, it's inexpensive. I pay $1 a day for 1 GB on my Safaricom plan. In fact, I might have to refund it because it's saying that now. So anyway, Okay. All right. So let's finish up on this one. So to recap, I just want to say this is the big problem. If you believe that the Chinese are exploiting Africa, then it stands to reason that you believe that the African is not a very good business person and they don't know how to run their governments well. If you believe that the Chinese are exploiting Africa, you may believe that most Africans would do anything for money with no pride or no shame. You see, this is how the propaganda follows down. Because you have to, in order for you to believe that the Chinese are exploiting Africa, you really have to believe that the African is so dumb he can't recognize that fact. And this is why the propaganda is dangerous. Because rather than say it's propaganda, you start trying to rationalize these things that don't make no sense. You probably believe that too many Africans would leave Africa for the U.S. if they had half a chance. And I already told you Africans ain't running. There's a billion Africans here, surely. They ain't running to it. All of them ain't running to the United States. Most of the people I know ain't thinking about going to the United States. They see it on TV. They see all the movies. Of course, they get interested, but they ain't ready to climb up on a plane, drop their whole life, and maybe they say they'll go there for a visit, and many of them do go to a visit and come right back. Huh? If you believe the Chinese are exploiting Africa, then you might believe deeply in your mind that the living conditions in the U.S. are better than the living conditions in Kenya or in Africa, in a modern African city. You're joking. I'm here to testify to you. Please. I lived in California. I have witnessed earthquakes and forest fires. Not a good thing. I have been to the beach where the sand will burn your feet and a wave can suck you right out into the ocean, drown your ass, let the fish eat your eyeballs out, and then spit you back on the shore the next morning. If you believe that the Chinese are exploiting Africa, you may believe even that the weather in the U.S. is better than the weather in Africa. If you believe that the Chinese are exploiting Africa, then you may also believe that the educational system in America is more superior to the educational system in Africa, and that the average American is smarter than the average Kenyan. That's the problem. That's the big problem. You try to justify the first lie with other lies that don't make no sense. The Chinese are not exploiting Africa. At the end of the day, it's the white men who kidnapped, enslaved, and colonized both blacks in America and the African in his own country, not the Chinese. This is Amen Rahh coming to you live from Mombasa, Kenya, where we find it's time to do truth again. And I know that I don't get a lot of friends when it comes to things that deal with propaganda, and your minds are striped like that. But we're gonna keep it on, keeping it on. Support the channel, and till the next time we meet. Oh, forgot to tell you, like and subscribe. And I want to thank you guys. You know, our videos are really moving up. Before they were like 100 views. Now today I already have videos that are getting 600 views, and it's amazing to watch the people come in. I appreciate more than. Okay, let me finish up on the last chat. AK, the auto technician jobs are big. How much is the internet? Okay, I think the internet is frozen, and I'm going to see you guys on the next video. Peace.